family that has a whole family, a lot of children. How wonderful.
Yeah.
We're even missing one.
You're even missing one.
Our little celiac girl, she's not here.
Well, so lovely to meet you.
Yes, we've actually met. We met you in Kansas City.
You look familiar. Yes.
I was the one who said never over my dead body.
Oh, yes, you do that. Yes.
Yes. That was me. That was me.
So it's lovely to meet your family.
Thank you.
All beautiful. So what have you clearly got a story for us?
Yes. Yeah, we do.
And so
Start it.
your mummy, daddy, and
These are all of our children.
5 of our 6 kids.
You've got another one somewhere else.
Yeah, she's all out of town today. Kenley's the oldest. She's 11, and Kian's the youngest. He's 3. And they run the gamut of fully vaccinated all the way down to not vaccinated at all. When Kinley was born, our oldest, we were the good rule-following patients that we were told to be, and follow doctor's orders and vaccinated.
Even though my mom and gut was saying, "Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this?" But I didn't have any information.
She came out without any reaction whatsoever, and we began to see things with the one who's not here, the next child. She now has celiac. So she was kind of our first. Kaylin was our third. Kaylin's been diagnosed with PANS, and this was kind of the beginning of when we started having a lot of questions, and those were questions that we would ask our doctor, and we didn't get answers. The doctor kind of shrugged her shoulders and said, "Well, I don't know."
We'll send you to a neurologist.
And so
He laughed at us.
Laura's the one in the family who has spent many, many long all-nighters.
I don't know. We'll send you to a neurologist.
Yeah. We knew she cared, but I mean, now that I've come this far in our journey, I understand. She is a caring doctor. She hasn't been educated. She hasn't been educated in the way she should have been educated. Like all doctors should be educated. But, we were basically laughed out of that neurologist office, and on the way home, I canceled our appointment for an EEG. This was, what, 5 years ago? Because I thought he did it just to appease me. And I called a family service and guidance center place, and they tried helping us with behavior modification. But I'm like, you don't understand. We can't reach her. She's not there. She's staring right through us.
And do you think this is following the vaccines?
Yes. She all changed right after her flu mist in 2010.
Flu mist?
Flu mist.
And at what age did she have flu mist?
3.
Can you explain to people who don't know what flu mist is?
It was the nasal spray, the vaccine for the nasal cavity.
And that alone, you think, changed it?
Well, I went back and looked at her medical records about 18 months ago, and after her 2-month appointment, we were back in at about, well, she had every shot, by the way. We were back in within 10 days for conjunctivitis, gastroenteritis, I think is what she said, ear infection, and what was the other one? Upper respiratory. And I was like shocked. I remember her being sick, but it was so close within the time frame of her being vaccinated. And then her 4-month appointment, same. She was diagnosed with upper respiratory, ear infection. 6-month appointment.
4 months old?
Mm-hmm.
And did she have more vaccines then?
Yep.
We've gone back in her history, and every time she was vaccinated,
she was back in.
7 to 10 days later, she was back at the doctor with some upper respiratory or ear infection or yeast infection.
And every time you went back,
and no one ever connected the dots.
The pediatrician just
never
connected the dots.
Never said anything. And finally, at her 15-month appointment, they were so worried about her weight and her size. They did run some tests. I don't know what they were. I was a young 25-year-old mom back then, and I said, "Is she okay?" And they said, "Well, we think so. Look at Dad. Look at, it's probably genetic." And her test came back fine, but she was only 17 pounds at 15 months old.
17 pounds?
Barely 17 pounds. Just over. Just hit it. And so she was fine. She was, behavior-wise, she was fine. She was a typical toddler. I used to blog, and so I have this record of how happy she was, how social, how sweet, caring, cuddly. She actually has a nickname Bug, because we call her
Are we talking about you behind there? Are you Bug?
She's Bug.
Ladybug.
Because she's Cuddlebug. And then on my blog, right at the time she got the flu mist, we went to a parent-teacher conference. And they said, well, she's kind of quiet, withdrawn, not very social. She was starting to throw tantrums. I started blogging about how she wouldn't sleep at night. She was screaming all the time. And I said, a month ago, I would not have used those words to describe you, not in the first 100 words, because she was so social and happy and just happy-go-lucky kid, and it's changed overnight. And that was kind of, we didn't put two and two together then, but we were starting to wonder what's wrong, and we sought help for years. And finally her diagnosis came just over a year ago. But it started pants. Yeah. She's also immune compromised, which goes back to why she was always back in the doctor's office right after being there for a well check.
And so so then did you stop vaccinating, or did you?
Yes.
These two, have they had? Did she have any vaccines?
She's had. I'll tell you a little bit of the story just briefly. She was hospitalized. Our youngest, or our fourth daughter.
Glasses girl at the end.
Yes.
Girl at the end.
She was hospitalized at about 20 months for what we came to find out was severe dehydration, but due to rotavirus. And I paused and I said, she's fully vaccinated. Why does she have rotavirus? We don't know. So 5 weeks later, I gave birth to her, and in that time I had researched enough to know I did not want to give her the Hep B. That's all I pretty much knew at that point. And so we went to her 2-month appointment, and I said, no Hep B. Are there any that you really think she should get? Like, you're going to get any. What's the ultimate? Well, pertussis. Not knowing, I didn't know that it was so many in one.
Yeah.
So she got it, and she immediately broke out in a scalding rash. She actually got it twice after that. She had a scalding rash from like all over her torso, her face. We have a picture of it. And so I said, okay. Went home and I started, my friend gave me the vaccine safety manual, I think is what it's called. And I just started reading over all these stories of vaccine injury. And I admit, my first dose of this was all anecdotal, and but I just read story after story after story on her 4-month appointment day. And I said, I can't do this anymore. And so I went to the appointment, and I said, I'm going to hold off until I feel more comfortable. I feel like I don't know anything about this, and I can't do this to my child, so we're going to wait. She was okay with that. I have a family practice doctor, and so we don't have the pediatrician push like some people do. But I stopped there. That was in summer of 2011, and he was born wherever he went right after, in September of 2012.
They're beautifully picking up off the letters of the bus.
And he, oh, I'm sorry. We don't have money to help you out. Sorry, no, I'm kidding. But yeah, so in September 2012, he was born, and we said no to everything. He's not had a single vaccine, and he's incredibly healthy. She has constant migraines, where we just went to our integrated pediatrician.
Which one of you has constant migraines? You do. Yeah, you're too young for that.
And so we got her into the integrative ped last week, and we're looking to see what's going on there. But you know, our next one was diagnosed with celiac, an autoimmune condition, which I know all too much now about how that happens. Another autoimmune condition with PANS.
That's ladybug.
We call her kind of like our safety kid. Like, we realized how unsafe we are because of her. We call the next one kind of our efficacy kid. They're not effective. She got rotavirus. And then the line they like to say is, I know, well, at least you won't get it so bad if you do get it. And I say, she's hospitalized. So, and then with the one shot, she broke out, and I said, that's it. And she's pretty darn healthy. She almost never gets sick. If she does, she recovers within 24 hours. And
that's a lot of names on our bus,
yes.
Children.
Yes,
I'll
it is.
climb the ladder to write mine at the top.
That's up to your parents. Who has the pen? Patrick, I need your help.
All right.
I'll climb.
I'm not sure we have insurance for little bugs climbing on top of us. You want to talk about your other daughter that you're going to be writing?
Oh, yeah, I'll write Kira's name. Right after, she's always had digestive issues. At a month old, I gave her a suppository. She was so bloated, so constipated. And she was colicky for several months. We went to her for answers to our doctor, and she's like, well, it's colic. I'm like, what's colic? Well, they scream. Well, why are they screaming? No one could tell me. And so right after her kindergarten boosters, she was on our couch for about a week, only to sleep, vomit, and poop, and diarrhea. And that was all she did for a week after her kindergarten boosters. And a couple weeks later, she started having bloody mucus in her stool. And about a year later, finally, after seeing several doctors, going on and off Pentasa and other drugs, I said, that's enough. We need to figure out what's going on. And she has celiac disease. And the symptoms, the really hardcore symptoms, started right immediately following her kindergarten boosters, which I tried to separate, by the way. I was going to go and I said, I want to space these out. And not, with no malicious intent, the nurse said, well, because she was screaming, the baby was screaming. She said, you're just going to have to put up with this 5, 6, whatever more times. And I said, good point, we'll just do them all. And I regret it every day. So I'm going to sign her name. Thanks, baby doll.
We actually have 6. All second colors. You are the...
I've got it. Be brave. Great work. Here we go. She's going back up. That's the next one. You're like a spider monkey.
I'll get another one.
Great work. You guys you're gonna climb up there too?
I'm gonna climb up there.
Yeah?
I'll
Okay.
try to stay.
Straight down.
Yeah, I got it. I could jump if I wanted to.
Please don't. Great job. Great job. Great job. Who's next?
You want to sign up there? Okay, have Dad.
You got better shoes on for this.
Well done.
Okay, I am.
There you go. Wow. Great job.
I'm gonna get up on my shoulder and climb the ladder.